Hi Virgo, welcome to your annual 2023-24 astrology forecast. I'm Anisha. Welcome to my channel. I talk everything about astrology and tarot. We're looking at 2023 opening with two planets that are retrograde. We have Mars, which is there in your house of career and reputation, and then we have Mercury, which is your co-ruler, and it is retrograde in your house of love, romance, creativity, and children, and it's retrograde till about 12th and 18th respectively. So things are off to a slow start, dear Virgos, as we start the year, which I think in a certain way it's good because it's giving us some time for introspection. It is a time of reflection on our internal journey so far. It's a good time for you to be reflecting upon your work, whether it is giving you the kind of satisfaction, financial security that you think that you require in your life. Even as far as your children are concerned, it's a time where you could be spending quality time with your children. You could be engaged in a creative pursuit. You could also be reflecting upon your children's journey as well. And some of you could be a little worried. It almost seems that some of you could be having some regrets as far as certain decisions that your children may have taken. Now, retrogrades bring about a time wherein that we are asked not to take any action. We are asked to reflect upon, we are asked to revise, research, and maybe redo as well. Not a good time, especially since Mercury is retrograde, to be buying a heavy ticket item, especially electronics. If you must buy something, then please ensure that you have your warranties in place, you have your receipts in place. It does happen often that when the retrograde finishes, that either there's a better deal or there could be some technical glitch in the gadget that you may have bought. On March the 8th, we have Saturn that is changing signs and it is resonating with Neptune that is there in Pisces, and it is moving into your house of marriage, and this is the house of your partnership. So it's a time wherein, first of all, that let's not panic just because Saturn is there. And yes, he's a teacher planet and he's there to make us aware about certain areas or aspects in us, in our partnerships, in our relationships, both work as well as marriage, wherein that we need to change or we need to grow or we need to walk away from. Now, your own significant relationships, Virgos, with others, they will come under scrutiny when Saturn transits during this house. So Saturn is going to be forcing you almost to be doing a spring cleaning as far as the areas of the life that it is touching. In your case, it is relationships, and these need to be closely understood and considered as well. Initially, when Saturn transits during any of the houses, there's a heightened sense of sensitivity, or we may feel frustrated, or you could feel the need to withdraw yourself. But it's a time where you need to be defining, you need to be understanding and crystallizing your own relationship with significant partners. It can be because it majorly covers your marriage and your business partnerships, then you need to be redrawing your boundaries again. And it's a time wherein issues around surrounding compromise, flexibility, and ability to give your heart to your partner, all of these will surface. And you could feel quite criticized as well during this time, and you could almost feel that your life is being examined, you're under a microscope, and you could feel quite judged as well by your partner. However, once Saturn leaves after 3 years, this specific house, he always leaves a gift. And I do hope, Virgos, that your courage is enough to roll up your sleeves and you're willing to make the changes in your relationships where they're required. Some of you, for those of you who are single, you could feel more lonely than usual. You could try not to rush into a relationship, a new relationship, especially, just the fear of being alone or being lonely. But it's a time wherein that, even though it could be playing on your mind, maybe you could just be reminded a lot. Maybe your friends around you, they're all married and they're having babies, and you could just be thinking that, oh, I'm left alone. But it's a phase, and you need to be reminding yourself that, it's just because everyone around you is doing a certain thing. It may not be the right time for you. And for those of you who are involved in a casual relationship, you could find, quite pressured during this time to, evaluate your commitments and to see whether how much of time you need to be spending in this casual relationship. So you could be doing like a pro and a con exercise as well. Often this transit, Saturn transit in this house of marriage and business partnership, it brings about a false or superficial pressure as well. So you could feel this need to commit. You could just feel this need to know, that I really need to either make this work or I need to get married if you're engaged, even though, you may feel it's not the best things. Similarly, at work as well, you could feel, even though the work is not that great, you could just feel obligated that, no, I need to be carrying on with this. But Saturn also along with it, because it cuts through all the fluff and the fuss and the clouds around. It is also going to be bringing some amount of measure of objectivity and reality check to your relationships as well. Some of you are will insist upon redefining your relationships, and you could view your relationships quite seriously now. Maybe earlier, if you've been quite casual and frivolous and said that, oh, so someone behaved in a certain way in a business partnership or in a close partnership, you may feel, yeah, it's all right. But now you will look at things quite differently. Also, responsibilities towards partners and compromises and your own needs towards others or their towards you, this would become more clear. So you could be almost forced to start seeing others as individuals and to improve the manner in which you relate with others. And of course, depending on how old you are when this transit happens for you, significant relationships or partnerships can mean partnerships with loved one, with business partnerships, or even deep friendships in certain cases. So if you are somebody who's very young, say you're a teenager when Saturn is transiting over here, you could find that your casual friendships, you could find them very superfluous. You could find them very unsatisfying, and eventually you could meet somebody with whom you could have a very deep friendship. The person could like really stay in your life for a long time. So basically, you could be replacing quantity with quality during this time, and try and keep the frustration in control as well. On March the 23rd, we have the most talked about aspect of the decade, that is Pluto transit. And Pluto is changing signs. It's moving from Capricorn and it's moving into Aquarius after 20 years. And Pluto has been in your house of love, romance, creativity since 2008. And it is now rearing its head and it's looking into your house of day-to-day chores. And this is the house of your health as well. Now, Pluto is going to be asking you to work selflessly, especially we are also working under the Aquarian energy. It's about we, the people. There's nothing very selfish about Aquarius. It is all collective energy. And Pluto as well is going to be pushing you to operate from a very noble space, from a very selfless space, and to be able to develop the ability to endure disappointment, hypersensitivity, and also personal failures. However, be extremely careful, Virgos, not to lose yourself in unnecessary sacrifice or any kind of a fanatical belief. If you have just sort of married yourself to a cause, don't sort of set everything afire on it and say that, no, I will literally burn everything to the ground, but I will not see the truth of my cause. Maybe it is not being financially viable, or maybe your entire resources are going over there. Maybe it's a time for you to be stepping back. So rather than being unnecessary fanatical about it and refusing to accept the reality, you need to be really stepping back and taking a hard and a clear decision over there. Try and also flow towards a goal of total, dedication towards a goal that can help you reorient your feelings and interests away from, rather than from your ego gratification, or towards participation to a fuller life, which speaks about interpersonal relationships. So maybe there's an aspect of your life, Virgos, which you're just ignoring, which speaks about, that maybe you could be putting more effort or energy into a cause than in your own personal relationships. Maybe your personal relationships have just soured, or they've just scattered, and you have not realized it, while you've fanatically been running after a cause. And there, of course, should and must be a willingness to serve with a conscious objective of curing yourself away from egocentricity. But along with it, of course, you must keep in mind that you will, or you can face personal crisis as well. So it's a time for a good time during the Pluto transit for regenerative therapies, whether they are physical or they're psychological. And if you follow a good physical regime during this time, you can now regenerate your body. And if you have also not paid attention to it in recent times, so it's very important to be taking care of your diet for the next, by the time the Plutonian transit is there. And because if Pluto is not well aspected in your chart, then it can cause a lot of health problems for you. On June the 7th, Pluto, of course, will roll back briefly into your house of love, romance, creativity, just to give you a sense of, whether you have learned those lessons around creativity and how it is involved that you have been, or what has been the end result for it before it finally moves ahead in your house of day-to-day chores and health. On April 20th, we have a solar eclipse that is there in your house of joint finances. It is resonating with Jupiter, which simply means that you could be starting a joint project, maybe in partnerships with somebody. It also speaks about maybe a new relationship that you're having with a partner with whom you have separated. This also speaks about loans, taxes, debts. It is not a time, and for some of you especially, you could feel, that your debts have increased, that you're really under loan, or, there's a lot of tax that you may have to pay. So try not to pick up more loans, especially if you're in this situation, Virgos. Try not to, put more on the plate, more than you can chew. On May the 5th, we have a lunar eclipse, which is there in your own sign, your own house. And this again speaks about, it's about, you could be introspecting about your own life goals, where it is that you're going ahead. For some of you, it could be that you are maybe taking a call to close a personal project. Maybe you are really thinking about putting an something with which you relate very closely with, you connect with very closely with. Maybe that is coming to an end. Maybe some of you are leaving a job with which you relate. Your sense of self-image is quite intertwined with that. On 17th of May, we have Jupiter, which is resonating with Uranus in your house of long distance travel. This is the house of learning, and it's also expansion of your mind. And Jupiter over here is talking about, maybe some of you could be traveling out of the country. Maybe you could be dealing with people who are in different countries, different cultures, different ethnicities. For some of you, you could be deepening your own spiritual study. Maybe you could be understanding your faith more. Uranus is, tends to bring about quite eccentric and unpredictable people in our lives as well. So it could be that you could be coming across some very, maybe newer ways, newer technology ways of doing your work. Maybe you could be upskilling yourself as well. On October 14th, we have a solar eclipse, which is there in your house of earned income. So some of you are maybe identifying another source of income for yourself. Maybe some of you are looking at picking up another project at this time. And this also talks about your own self-worth, Virgos. Maybe you could be feeling a sense of renewed hope during this time. On October 28th, we have a lunar eclipse, which is there again in your house of long distance travel. And for some of you, it could be that, your either your collaboration with an international partner finishes, either you are, you finished publishing a book as well. It's a great time to be publishing. For some of you, this also speaks about, either a college is getting over, maybe some studying or something is getting over your learning process over here. You're finishing that phase as well. Another interesting thing this entire year in 2023 is that we have the retrograde energies, that is Mercury retrograde is there all in earth sign. So it's a very earthy practical energy, and Virgo, you are a earth sign, so it will benefit you quite a lot. You will be able to implement your ideas and visions. You could have them sort of implement them for others to follow. And because you're somebody in any case who's more duty bound, you want to start, you're more of a doer than rather sitting and ideate and think and plan. And this is a year which will help you, it will allow you, because there's a lot of earthy energy wherein that you will find people who are around you are also into that doer mode as well. Keep an eye out not to get consumed by the noble cause, and remember, nothing is worth having a fire, lighting a fire inside your house or burning your own relationships. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Virgos. I'm wishing you a fantastic 2023. I'll see you again soon, and thank you so much for watching.